When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello guys. This is actually going to be like an extra video for this week, but I wanted to make something clear because I was wrong about something in my Stannis video that a commenter, Gothingo, pointed out that I always had this misconception that the show version where George R. Martin confirmed that yes, Shireen was going to be burned. I talked about it in that video, but I thought that Stannis wasn't going to burn her, right? I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought it was more that George R. R. Martin confirmed that Shireen will be burned, but it's not exactly how. And so I was actually corrected in the comments because I just had this misconception. I don't know where I got this from. I think I've just seen multiple things where it wasn't Stannis, it was just Shireen was going to get burned. All of that. I think I've seen a couple of YouTubers also have this misconception. So I do want to make this clear because I was given the source of where George R. R. Martin talked about the actual things that he told D&D and what things were confirmed. And so if you guys want to look at the source yourself, in James Hibbard's book, Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon, he talks to George R. R. Martin, and this was talking about a 2013 meeting with D&D, but he says, it wasn't easy for me. I didn't want to give away my books. It's not easy to talk about the end of my books. Every character has a different end. I told them who would be on the Iron Throne, and I told them some big twists like Hodor and Hold the Door, and Stannis' decision to burn his daughter. We didn't get to everybody by any means, especially the minor characters who may have very different endings. So this would imply that yes, Stannis is going to burn his daughter, which kind of switches almost everything that I have to think about this character because I didn't know that George confirmed that part of it. And so I do want to talk about that for a second because that kind of changes how I think about the character of Stannis. Because you now have to come to this idea that Stannis is so desperate that he burns his daughter. He's just not in that position right now. And I mean, he is in a position where he's kind of on the back foot, but not really. It seems like he has this all planned out as to how he's going to beat at least the Freys. So the next part of this is going to be, well, okay, if he is going to burn his daughter, he has to there's two options that could occur here. One, he goes back to the wall to the Night Fort. That's option A. Option B, again, I'm not saying either one of these is over, but these are just the two options. The other option is Shireen ends up coming to Winterfell or something like that, wherever Stannis is at the time. And so how would this play out? Well, I don't think it's going to be because Roose has beaten Stannis down or he needs something to help beat Stannis, and so his desperation goes to the idea that he has to burn Shireen. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's still different in terms of the way the show ended versus the book, because I think the show saw it as a way of ending Stannis' character, given the way we don't really see the true Battle of Ice or any of that stuff. I think in the book, we're still going to see it where Stannis ends up basically taking out the Boltons. But what I could see instead is, like I've talked about in this idea of Stannis fighting the others, and that's kind of his last part of this chapter, well, maybe it's different. Maybe it's Stannis is burning his daughter because he believes that's the only way that he can gain the power to defeat the others as being this prophesized Azor Ahai. And maybe that's why, because this desperation of the conflict of the others, where the world's not united against this threat yet, Stannis has to go to very desperate measures. Because of the growing cold and coming of the others, we see Stannis burning Shireen in the last chapter, and then also, giving his life. Now, I don't know. I really feel like George may be rethinking this one. He did confirm it was a plot point, so we have to go off of that is what is going to happen. I just find it weird because some of my logic still applies to the idea of Stannis is going to be moving around quite a lot if he's going back to the Night Fort after he deals with the conflict with the Boltons, which could take at least half of the book. So then you'd have to assume, okay, maybe we get a chapter or two here where he goes to the Night Fort, but he's in the middle of a blizzard, so I don't know, it's just a weird situation in which George may have backed himself into a corner, suggesting that that's going to happen. I always just think it makes way more logical sense based upon where Stannis is for Mel to burn her, just based on what we know is going to happen. So it's a weird, I think, corner that George has backed himself into in terms of Stannis has to burn Shireen, and so then some of the things have to align to that. But then it also raises another question. If Shireen is going to be burned by Stannis, that means Jon is not going to be resurrected by Shireen being burned. That's just not going to happen. Because we know Jon is more than likely going to be resurrected within the first quarter of a Winds of Winter. That would be my prediction. Maybe if we want to extend it out to the first third, we can do that as well. But if Shireen's not being used to do that, I guess we are going to just see Melisandre try and just do some resurrection ritual like she did in the show. And because Jon is still conscious, probably in Ghost, that is going to transfer his essence or his soul back into his body type thing. That's more or less how it seems like it's going. I don't know how I feel about this change, or maybe not the change, but it's basically because I've gone so long now, like thinking that that's not the way Stannis was going to end. It's weird to kind of think about that and go, okay, well, that throws a wrench into my ideas because that's not the way I thought things were going to go down. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts because it is a huge thing to like actually have the confirmation that, yes, Stannis is going to burn her. I did not think that it was going to be so. I just thought Shireen was going to be burned, and that's about it. But let me know what you guys think. And also, if I'm ever wrong in a video on stuff, guys, always feel free to correct me. Do it respectfully, please, like this person did, which I appreciate. But yeah, I did want to just correct that mistake, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.